and he had a gun like that. And I said, excuse me, and he shoots me and goes in there, messes up my intestines. I had to have a colostomy for like, 8 months.
I seen the picture of you two together. Was that the first time y'all seen each other in years?
Absolutely. And like literally 20-something years. Literally. Yeah.
Look here, man, don't look at me like that. I didn't shoot the sheriff.
Let's heal. Let's keep in touch. Let's not let all this time go by.
Jackie Chan!
Ever sat back and wondered why the hit show Martin just vanished from our screens after blowing up the way it did? What really went down behind the scenes that caused it to end so suddenly? Was it some messy drama, a falling out, or was there a deeper tea that spilled and led to its cancellation?
Hey, Tommy, man, why don't you pass brother one of them tater skins? Oh, sure, bro.
In this video, we're spilling the tea on why Martin never made a comeback after that major moment. Buckle up, because we're about to break down exactly what went left.
What's up? What's up?
Before we dig into the drama, let's get into some untold gems about the cast you might not know. Did you know Tisha Campbell, aka Gina, and Tichina Arnold, our girl Pam, were tight long before Martin? These two met way back when they were just 12, hustling for acting gigs in New York City. They clicked instantly and stayed ride or die ever since.
And the reason why I say that is because she's nuts.
You don't understand what I have to deal with!
You hear the voice? You hear it?
Every single year!
What's up, girl?
I heard you the first time, phony Braxton.
At just 16, Tisha and Tichina landed roles in the musical Little Shop of Horrors, where they sang their hearts out together. This project only deepened their sisterhood. So by the time Martin Lawrence came up with the idea for Martin in 1992, these two were already inseparable, roommates and besties. It's no wonder they both joined the cast and brought their unshakable bond to the show, making it even more iconic. Martin is one of those 90s classics that still has folks hollering today. It centers around Martin Payne, played by Martin Lawrence, a loud and hilarious radio DJ who later becomes a TV host. His over-the-top personality kept the show alive with laughs. Set in Detroit, it follows Martin's life with his girlfriend Gina, his boys Tommy and Cole, and Gina's homegirl Pam. The squad constantly found themselves in wild, laugh-out-loud situations. And let's not forget Martin's unforgettable alter egos, like the sassy, scene-stealing Shanae.
Oh my goodness. If it isn't Little Miss Attitude.
And of course, we can't leave out the old-school Playa Jerome, who had us cracking up with his smooth-talking, funky vibes. Martin's ability to embody characters like Jerome showed off his unmatched comedic genius and kept the laughs rolling.
Ollie, look here, man, don't look at me like that. I didn't shoot the sheriff.
Martin ran for 5 seasons and became a fan favorite because it hit different. It was real. It showed friendships, relationships, and everyday struggles, all served up with a big dose of comedy. Having the show named after him was a huge milestone for Martin Lawrence and launched his career into the stratosphere. But with all that success came some drama. Word on the street, and from Tichina Arnold, aka Pam, on TV1, is that Martin's fame started messing with the vibe. She revealed that the cast grew distant over time. The network put Martin on a pedestal as the star, and the rest of the crew started feeling like background players. That shift created some serious tension behind the scenes.
Cause it's gonna haunt your every waking moment.
On the set of Martin, the script was more like a suggestion than a rule. Martin Lawrence was all about improvising. He'd toss the script and freestyle his lines on the spot. Tichina Arnold, who played Pam, spilled in an interview that from the moment Martin went off script for the first time, they all knew, this is how it's gonna be. And honestly, it worked. His wild, unscripted moments added a unique spark to the show. Sometimes Martin was so funny that the cast couldn't keep a straight face. They'd try to hold it together, but most of the time, someone cracked. Thomas Michael Ford, who played Tommy, was usually the first one to lose it. It became a whole inside game to see who'd break character first. With over 100 episodes, Martin served up plenty of iconic moments. But when asked about his favorite, Martin didn't hesitate. It was Guard Your Grill, the one where he gets hilariously whooped by boxer Tommy Hearns. That scene with his head swelling up to look like a grapefruit? Comedy gold. Martin said it was his favorite because it hit close to home. Back in the day, Martin trained as a boxer. Growing up in a tough neighborhood, he kept out of trouble by joining the Sugar Ray Leonard Boxing Center. He got so good he won a championship at just 15. But his his boxing dreams ended when he took a punch that left him with a black eye. His mom saw that and shut it down real quick. Martin's love for improv and his real-life boxing background made the show not just funny, but unforgettable. A true classic that still has us laughing today.
By the way, that show had like some of the funniest catchphrases.
It did.
That we now have part of our vernacular.
Is that
I still
crazy?
say, talk to the hand because the face don't want to hear it.
Right. Nobody remembers that it actually came from us.
Martin didn't just bring the laughs. It gave us some of the most iconic catchphrases that are still a part of pop culture today. These sayings were so on point that folks couldn't help but use them in everyday conversations. One of the most famous, talk to the hand. Martin's hilarious way of shutting someone down like, I don't want to hear it. Then there was, you go girl, a whole vibe for hyping someone up and showing love. And who could forget get to steppin' whenever Martin wanted to kick somebody to the curb. Fans ate it up and those phrases spread like wildfire. Even now, years later, people still shout these lines at Martin Lawrence. He joked about it on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, saying the ones he hears the most are what's up and you go boy, the male remix of you go girl. That what's up was so big, it ended up in Budweiser commercials and even got spoofed in Scary Movie. These catchphrases didn't just make us laugh, they left a mark on pop culture. They're proof of how Martin shaped the way we talk and brought its energy into our everyday lives. Even though the show wrapped up ages ago, these sayings still have the power to make us smile, reminding us just how special Martin really was. Back in the 90s, hitting 100 episodes was a big deal. It meant a show was officially a hit, and the network could cash in on those sweet rerun checks. When Seinfeld hit the 100-episode mark in 1995, NBC threw a huge celebration. But when Martin hit that same milestone in 1996, they barely got a congratulations. Instead of a big party, the cast got gift baskets, and that didn't sit well with Martin Lawrence, the star and creator of the show. Tichina Arnold, who played Pam, later shared how Martin was livid. She remembered him staring at the baskets, stopping everything, and just walking off set. Martin had a serious sit-down with Fox, and after that, the gifts got better. Arnold laughed about it, but you could tell that the whole crew felt a little underappreciated. But that wasn't the only thing that had people upset. Fans were heartbroken when Martin, one of the most beloved shows of the 90s, suddenly ended after just 5 seasons. What really went down behind the scenes? Personal drama between Martin Lawrence and Tisha Campbell, who played his girlfriend, Gina. Campbell filed a lawsuit against Lawrence, accusing him of harassment, which created so much tension that it ultimately led to the show's abrupt end. The real-life drama behind the scenes left fans shocked, and the show just couldn't go on after that.
I said, Mama used to say, take your time, young man.
We all thought Martin and Gina had that on-screen magic, right? They made fans believe their bond was unbreakable. But off-screen? Honey, it was a whole different story. Everything seemed smooth at first, but by the 5th and final season, something strange started happening that caught fans' attention. Tisha Campbell, who played Gina, wasn't in as many scenes with Martin Lawrence, who played Martin. The few times they were together in that last season, they were never in the same room. Instead, they had to talk to each other through a split screen during the series finale. That alone had fans scratching their heads, wondering what was going on. But the real bombshell came when it was revealed that Tisha had left the set months before those final episodes were even filmed. She made it clear she wasn't coming back. Fans were left confused and curious. Why did she leave? What went down behind the scenes? Then, in 1997, the shocking news broke. Tisha filed a lawsuit against Martin Lawrence, accusing him of sexual assault, battery, and abuse. This rocked the fandom, and everyone wanted the full scoop. While the lawsuit's details were kept under wraps for a while, the tension between Martin and Tisha was loud and clear. The real reason behind Martin's sudden end? It was more than just show business. It was personal.
But Martin, unfortunately, show business at a certain point in his life got the best of him. And when that happens, you see it happening. And there's nothing you can do about it.
The lawsuit revealed that the tension between Martin and Tisha had been simmering for years, dating all the way back to the first season. Tisha claimed that Martin was relentless with his advances, repeatedly asking her out on dates, but she turned him down every time. By the second season, things took a dark turn. Tisha said Martin's behavior became unpredictable, with angry outbursts that had him yelling at the crew and even threatening to fire people. It wasn't just drama on screen. It was spilling over into the workplace, creating a toxic environment that made it impossible for Tisha to keep going.
The network has a lot to do with that as well. They take care of the star, then everybody else is a piece of shit. That's just how it goes down. And you embrace being a piece of shit.
By the third season, things reportedly took a darker turn. Tisha claimed Martin began humiliating her on set, and the abuse got so severe that it led her to the hospital from the stress. The lawsuit alleged that this pattern of behavior only escalated over time, making the working conditions unbearable. By the 5th season, Tisha said it had reached a breaking point, and she could no longer tolerate the abuse. The tension was no longer just an issue of on-screen chemistry. It had turned into a dangerous and toxic situation off-screen.
But Martin, unfortunately, show business at a certain point in his life got the best of him. And when that happens, you see it happening, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Tisha even asked the show's writers to stop including scenes where Gina and Martin had to share a bed, but they kept pushing those storylines. It didn't end there. She claimed Martin completely ignored her boundaries during filming, even allegedly touching her inappropriately and using his tongue during kiss scenes without her consent. But the final straw came when Martin reportedly had a massive outburst on set, scaring everyone, especially Tisha. That's when she drew the line, told the producers she was done, and made it clear she wasn't coming back. At that point, it was clear she couldn't take it anymore, and the show would never be the same.
I love you.
In a 2019 interview, Reginald Ballard, who played Brewman on Martin, opened up about what he witnessed behind the scenes. He revealed that the tension between Martin and Tisha had gotten so intense that they couldn't even be on the Universal Studios lot at the same time. Ballard admitted he didn't know all the details because he kept his distance and didn't mingle with the cast outside of filming. But even from the sidelines, he could tell that the whole situation was strange and hard to wrap his head around. It was clear something major was going down, but the full scope of it was too complicated for anyone to fully grasp.
I love you.
The reunion between Martin stars, Martin Lawrence and Tisha Campbell, brought up a lot of mixed feelings for fans. Over time, both Lawrence and Campbell have worked on forgiving each other. In interviews, Campbell shared how they both made efforts to move past their past issues. She emphasized that their reunion was about celebrating their achievements and acknowledging how far they've come. Lawrence echoed those sentiments, expressing that he holds nothing but love for Campbell. However, fans still have strong opinions about the drama behind the scenes. Some fans blame Lawrence for what went down on set, while others think both stars share responsibility. One fan wrote online, "They were young and made bad choices. It's a shame the show ended like that. Martin was groundbreaking and should have lasted 10 seasons, not 5. When Campbell shared a nostalgic video on Instagram, tagging her former co-stars, the reactions were divided. Some fans blamed her for the show's cancellation, writing things like, "You're the reason the show ended." But others showed love for the memory, commenting, "So much history, love it." As for Martin Lawrence, he shared his thoughts on why the show ended. He explained that it was simply time for the show to wrap up. While he acknowledged some behind-the-scenes issues, he didn't dive into the details. When asked about Tisha Campbell's lawsuit, Lawrence admitted that it was part of the conversation, but he made it clear that the issues with Campbell weren't the reason the show ended. "People think it got canceled, but that's not true," he said. "I chose to end it." For Lawrence, ending Martin wasn't about drama. It was more about his career choices and what was best for his future.
Let's heal. Let's keep in touch. Let's not let all this time go by.
Aside from the tension with Tisha, Martin was dealing with some tough personal struggles that were taking a toll on him. Fame can bring a lot of pressure, and Martin found it increasingly difficult to cope. To manage the stress, he turned to marijuana, but instead of helping, it only made things worse. In May 1996, things reached a breaking point. Martin was found by the police in the middle of a busy street yelling, swearing, and carrying a gun. He later admitted he was high at the time and had no idea how he ended up in the street. "Running across a busy street while high doesn't mix," he said, adding that the police had every right to stop him. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and the situation ended without violence. But that wasn't Martin's only problem. Later that year, he tried to bring a gun onto a plane in his carry-on, which landed him in more trouble. Then, in 1997, he was put on probation after an altercation at a nightclub. His personal life wasn't in much better shape either. During his divorce, his ex-wife accused him of saying some very hurtful things. Even though he was at the peak of his career, these struggles were weighing him down. As Martin's personal problems intensified, things were also falling apart on the set of Martin. By the 5th season, it was clear the show was nearing its end. In one of the final episodes, the spotlight shifted from Martin to his co-star, Pam, played by Tichina Arnold. The episode, titled "Goin' for Mine," centered on Pam losing her job but finding a new opportunity at a record label. This was meant to test the waters for a potential spin-off show starring Pam as the lead. Fox believed Pam, with her strong and sassy personality, could carry her own show, and fans loved her character. Tichina Arnold later revealed that both the network and Martin wanted to highlight her talents. While it seemed like a great opportunity, the spin-off never materialized. Looking back, Tichina felt everything happened the way it was meant to, and she made peace with how things turned out.
I seen the picture with you two together. Was that the first time y'all seen each other in years?
Absolutely. And like literally 20-something years. Literally. Yeah.
Anthony Payne, who played the lovable Cole on Martin, didn't always see eye to eye with the star of the show, Martin Lawrence. While they had great comedic chemistry on screen, behind the scenes, there were some tensions. Payne later admitted that their relationship was sometimes strained. It wasn't unusual for Lawrence, known for his larger-than-life personality, to clash with his co-stars, especially as his fame and the pressure of the show started to take its toll. Despite the tension, Payne stuck with the show, and their interactions still created some of the most memorable moments fans loved.
Hey, Tommy, man, why don't you pass brother one of them tater skins? Oh, sure, bro.
At first, everything seemed fine between Anthony Payne, aka Cole, and Martin Lawrence. They worked together, shared laughs, and did their jobs as expected. But over time, Carl said that Martin started treating him badly. He didn't dive into specifics, but Carl believed Martin was struggling with personal issues at the time. Despite the challenges, Carl always tried to keep it professional. However, if he ever felt disrespected, he wasn't afraid to stand up for himself. Carl compared working on the show to being part of a family. There are disagreements, but there are also good times. But even with the tension, Carl still had a lot of fun on set. He made it clear, though, that he didn't have a problem with Martin. According to him, the tension mostly came from Martin's side. This underlying friction carried on throughout the show's run. It wasn't until years later, just before they filmed the Martin reunion, that Carl and Martin finally had a heart-to-heart and worked through their issues. They were able to put the past behind them, which fans appreciated. While the chemistry between the cast on screen was undeniable, it's clear that behind the scenes, things weren't always smooth. At least Carl and Martin were able to move forward and let the drama go. But Carl isn't the only one who had issues with Martin. Garrett Morris, who played Stan Winters, also had his own struggles. Garrett was a fan favorite in the early seasons, but after the second season, he suddenly disappeared from the show. Fans were left wondering what happened. The truth behind his departure is both sad and surprising. It turns out there were some behind-the-scenes problems that led to Garrett leaving Martin.
Use people, Martin. That's not coming from you. That's woman talk.
Before Garrett Morris joined Martin in 1992, he was already a well-known figure in Hollywood, with a career spanning decades. However, during that time, Garrett was grappling with personal struggles, including a battle with addiction. Unfortunately, things took a dark turn near the end of the second season. One day, while walking to his car in Los Angeles, Garrett was attacked by two men. Being a black belt in martial arts, he fought back and was able to kick one of the attackers. But this only made the situation worse, as the man pulled out a gun in retaliation. Garrett was shot in the chest and arm. He was rushed to the hospital and fell into a coma, fighting for his life. This traumatic event marked a major turning point for Garrett, and it affected his ability to continue with the show.
And he had a gun like that. And I said, excuse me, and he shoots me and goes in there, messes up my intestines. I had to have a colostomy for like 8 months.
Garrett Morris had to undergo several surgeries to survive after the shooting. His recovery was long and difficult, but he managed to pull through. However, during this time, Garrett received the script for Martin and was devastated to find that his character, Stan, had been written out of the show. The decision to remove him from the series came at a time when he was still healing, which made the situation even harder to accept. Despite his dedication to the show, Garrett's departure was a direct result of the events that unfolded during his recovery.
That's when the person who was producing Martin decided to fire me while I was actually in the hospital itself.
The storyline had Stan selling the radio station and leaving town, which was a way to explain Garrett Morris's absence. In a surprising move, Garrett filmed a scene from his hospital bed, where his character explained his exit. But shortly after, Garrett was told that he was being fired from the show. When he asked directly if he was being let go, the answer was a blunt yes. Even after leaving the hospital, Garrett's struggles were far from over. One of the gunshot wounds got infected, leading to more surgeries, and he had to wear a colostomy bag for 8 months. He spent a year in a wheelchair, which took a heavy toll on him, both physically and emotionally. During this difficult period, Garrett struggled with depression, but he eventually found the strength to focus on what brought him happiness and moved on from the traumatic experience. Garrett did return to Martin for one episode in season 3, where his character opened a restaurant with Martin Lawrence's character. However, after that, Stan was never seen again. In an interview, Garrett opened up about being fired, expressing that he believed Martin Lawrence who was also a co-executive producer of the show, was responsible for his exit. Garrett claimed that Martin had told stories about visiting him in the hospital, even crying by his bedside, but Garrett strongly disputed those claims, stating that it never happened. Garrett's story highlights the painful side of his experience, showing that despite the obstacles he faced, he kept moving forward, even when the show's treatment of him wasn't as supportive as it could have been.
It's the D-O-double-G, cause that be me.
The show Martin also played a key role in giving rising stars in comedy and music a chance to shine. One of the most memorable moments was when rapper Snoop Dogg made his very first TV appearance on the show. Snoop admitted he was a bit nervous at first, but he quickly relaxed and nailed his role just by being himself. Martin Lawrence created an atmosphere where guest stars didn't have to act differently or pretend. They could simply relax and have fun, which is something Snoop really appreciated. In interviews, Snoop has spoken about how Martin gave artists the chance to show their true personalities, a rare opportunity in the entertainment industry at the time. Another star who got a major boost from Martin was Tracy Morgan. Before he became a household name on Saturday Night Live, Tracy appeared on Martin as Hustleman, a hilarious character who sold random, often useless items. Martin Lawrence saw Tracy's comedic potential early on and gave him the opportunity to showcase his talent. Tracy was a natural on set, making everyone laugh with his quick wit and great delivery. In a heartfelt interview, Tracy shared how much the chance meant to him. He said, "Martin let me eat at his table," explaining that Martin didn't give him the role because they were friends, but because he believed in Tracy's humor. That one opportunity changed Tracy's life and career forever. And to this day, he remains deeply grateful to Martin for helping him get his start in comedy.
Jackie Chan!
One of the most surprising and hilarious moments on Martin came when international action star Jackie Chan made a guest appearance. Fans were left scratching their heads wondering, why would the martial arts legend show up in a sitcom? Well, Jackie played himself as the unexpected boyfriend of Shanae, one of Martin Lawrence's wild and over-the-top characters. It was a random, funny moment that no one saw coming, but it was also more than just a cameo. Around this time, Martin Lawrence had been offered the role in Rush Hour, the buddy cop movie that made Chris Tucker a household name. Martin joked on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon that he turned it down because they didn't have enough money for me. Chris Tucker later revealed that other big names like Martin Lawrence and Wesley Snipes had also been considered for the role before he landed it. Imagine if Martin had taken the part. Rush Hour would have been a totally different movie. Some folks think Jackie's appearance on Martin might have been a way to get Martin excited about working together, but if that was the plan, it didn't work out. Jackie did his cameo, but Martin never joined the Rush Hour franchise. Nonetheless, it was a funny, memorable moment for fans of both stars, and it'll always be a highlight in TV history. And that's a wrap for today's video, folks. Catch you next time. Bye.